Hi, this is KV, and this is the moon phase report for the solar eclipse that's actually happening right now. I was actually totally ahead of the game. I have the written horoscopes already done on Aquarius Nation last week. I was gonna have this video out for a whole week. I was so excited. I was so ahead of the game. But then I lost my mama kitty, who was this cat I had for 16 years, and she was basically the matriarch. So I hope that I just don't spend this whole reading crying because I don't want to do that. But I am like, it's kind of funny because there's several messages I do want to tell you, even from like a week ago, that I was like, oh my gosh, everything is going to have me crying on this video. But the other tears I was talking about were wonderful, beautiful tears. And then I didn't, alright, hold on. So, yeah, so this was a really huge blow to me, because she was my mama. And one of the things, too, like, to explain why it's such a big blow, too, is that she had, like, the softest fur that an animal could ever have. I've never had another animal that had fur that was that amazingly soft. And it was also really kind of muted and pastel-like. So there was something about her that never grew up, and she always just looked like a baby. She felt like a baby. Her little feet looked like babies. So like 16 years of this cat that always looked so much like a baby. So it was always like, oh, and but so anyway, let me just try to go into this. Basically, one of the things I really want to tell you first off is about this message that came through to me last week that I was supposed to share with you guys. And I have to go back in time to tell another story in order for you to see the validity of what I'm going to tell you next after I tell this story. So I have to take us back in time, which is really ironic too, because this was when I got Mama. So I'm having all these things kind of come full circle in my life. But so I had been living in San Francisco, and I had a vision that my father was going to die, and I didn't know him because my parents had gotten divorced when I was like 2, and they just kind of both went on their separate ways. And I always had this really strong connection with my dad, though, and like, I never did with my mom and my brother. I was always kind of the third wheel with them, whereas they got along so well, and I got along with my dad, but my dad wasn't there. So anyway, I had a vision he was going to die, and I've always followed my visions. Like, I got to Santa Fe because I was told I was moving here, and I just go, okay, do it, I will leave a place in a day's notice if I'm guided to do something, and that's how I follow my life. So anyway, I had a vision that he had died, and then it was like 2 hours later. It was something that was so quick, but like 2 hours later, I go down to check my mail, and I had gotten the very first letter from my dad ever. I even found it to show you. This was the very first letter that my dad ever sent me. Let's see. I'm like, where's the thing? And there's my daddy's name up there, although he's dead now. But so. The day I had this vision that he was going to die, I then, get the very first letter from him. So it was like, okay, this really has to happen. I need to go back. I'd also just opened to spirituality in my life, too, in the past several years. And I remember being like, if I don't know my dad, there's going to be something, that I'm going to have to heal later on because of that. So I just really knew that it was really important that I go back and get to know my dad. So I went back to get to know him, and it was actually so fantastic to have that time with him. And I just realized we were like twins, and all these things, like, even when I'm standing, I always kind of go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It's almost like a figure 8, and I can't control it. It's something that I do. And he did the same thing. I'd be like, I do that too. Oh my God, that's so cute. So it was a fantastic time. Anyway, he ended up getting hit by a car while walking down the street, and his whole head was bashed in, broke his neck, shattered his spine. He actually had to get his whole upper back fused together, which meant that, if you know that pain that you have right here, imagine it being like a load of bricks and it's fused. So it was like he had pain every day of his life after this accident. But anyway, he was in a coma, and it was, you know, around a month. It was just he wasn't waking up. They didn't know why. And on this one particular day, I heard, this had never happened to me ever in my life. And up until the other day, it was the only time it had ever happened in my life. And what had happened was this voice came through, like it was as if it was in the room. You know, it's not something like channeling. It was something outside of me in the room. And I just heard, go in, take a deep breath. As you exhale, lay your hands on him. And, you know, this was, you know, 14 years ago. I didn't even know about energy work at that time. I didn't know what a body worker was. I didn't even know what the word energy meant, you know. This was still like before the internet was really even taking off and becoming a source of information. So, but nothing like that had ever happened, so I knew that this was something wild and I had to trust it. And, you know, that next day, my stepmom, my Randy mom who died 2 months ago, another matriarch, we were going in every day trying to wake him up, and, you know, we'd go in and smoke a joint and, you know, go in, and because he would have liked that. And anyway, so we went in, and it was exactly how that worked. You know, by the time we got to the ICU, I walked to the room. I was taking a breath in as I was walking into the room, and I just came right up to him and laid my hands out on him and exhaled, and his eyes opened like that. He came out of the coma like that. And it was like, it was as if he'd just been napping, and I came in and touched him. So, you know, and I remember, like, you know, my stepmom was a nurse, so she knew the whole drill, and like everybody knew my dad, because I kind of have this family that everybody knows back where I'm from. And so, like, she was like, nurse, and raced to get him, and the nurse came in and jumped up and, you know, checked his eyes with the light, and was like, Smokey Van Zel, you've earned yourself some morphine. And then they raced off to shoot him up with morphine. And I didn't know that then, but I thought that was really weird that when you're in a coma, they want you to wake up first before they diagnose it and start giving you pain relief. So it's like, I'm like, well, what are the options? You get morphine, or you get morphine, or you get morphine, you know, like, but I realized that's why he didn't come out of it, because he was in so much pain. And so anyway, after that happened, you know, that definitely changed my life. But that never happened again, where I heard that voice like that, until, I mean, maybe it was like a week ago, 9 days ago or something, and I was out in my sweat lodge, because I had a really bad migraine. And I just wanted to lay on the earth, because it's built down into the earth. It's really special like that. It's like a kiva. And so I was out there, and then all of a sudden, you know, in the quietest space of nothing, that voice came through again. And the first thing that was said was, there are so many good things going on all over this planet, in every neighborhood, in every corner. And then after that, a lot of things were told to me about energy and about density, but and I'll tell you that in a minute. But the thing that was then so amazing about it, and this was where I was so filled with emotion after it happened, I thought I was just going to be crying on these videos telling you, but I don't even know if it was like hours that passed, but it was like one scene after another, after another, after another. I was shown all these scenes of people coming together. Most of them were in ceremony, which is kind of funny, because I'm very much like anti-spiritual, believe it or not, or I just have like, I feel so much of the undercurrent truths in people, that so much of it has been like so hypocritical, and like one thing on the surface but a different thing on the depth. So I've been really, I don't just dive into anything because everyone's doing it, and I don't just, I'm really selective of what I'm going to share my space, what I'm going to collaborate into, what I'm going to join into. So with ceremonies, I've always been very much about, I need it more controlled. I want to know it's all my people. You know, I'm much more like, you know, but even things like rules, that kind of stuff has never appealed to me. You have to do this like this. When you come to the entranceway, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this. And me, I'm like, whatever, you know? It's my heart, it's my intent, it's these other things that are more important, I believe. So I'm like a rebel and all that. That's where when people like talk to me about spirituality, I'm like, I actually don't like, label myself as that. Even though I know I am, I still just don't like to have to put myself in any category or convince you, or I mean, it's like, what is that thing, is it's like people don't change by our opinions, they change by our examples, you know. So I'd rather just be this way and you figure it out, instead of being like, I am such a spiritual person or whatever. But anyway, but what I saw was the most amazing ceremonies. So many of them were like Native American, but then all over the country. So it was all nationalities, and it was just love and coming together and taking care of. And basically what that voice was telling me is that we're not seeing all the good that's going on in this world. And um, but that if we can imagine, it's like every neighborhood, every town, there's other people who are just like you, and if you can just imagine like that string connected to two destinations. And I was shown like all these things and all these strings, and almost like a spider's web, which spider has been a really big messenger for me right now. But you know, all these connections of all these people, and they're, you know, we're all doing the same thing. We're all working to manifest these same things. We're all working to, you know, be our best people so that we can vibrate that, and not even so much spread it out or send it out, but just be it. Because I'm kind of realizing now, like, that's what it's really all about, is just being it. It's not like sending out our love and sending out prayers. I mean, I guess prayers, because it's like we're sending this focus, but really, ultimately, it's just us being who we are. And one of the things that's happening right now is that we're remembering who we are. We're remembering who we are. We're remembering who we are. We're remembering that powerful place of having such a solid core where nobody else's opinions and nobody else's judgments and everything will even affect you. You know, it's like you just kind of like know who you are. And so that vision was so, I mean, now I feel kind of detached from it, because now I'm in such a different numb state of loss. But it was so beautiful to see. And it was so, I mean, I bawled the whole time seeing all this love. But one of the things that was told was that we have to realize that, you know, our negative energies, when we put down, oh, this world is so messed up, it's never going to change, everybody is so lost, it's so bad. Like, every time you say that, like, negative energies are dense. That's why they're called dense, which I never got that until this moment. But I was like, oh my God, yeah. So it's like they're very heavy and dense. And it's like surrounding us in this brick wall. But, and like the light energies, you know, like the light, high vibrating energies are very light and wispy. And that's why when you think about it, you can be having the best day ever, and then one bad thing happens, and you can totally lose the vibration of the good day. You could forget why you were feeling so good. And then if you think about too, you know, when sometimes when you're in such a bad funk of a mood and you just can't get out of it, you can't get out of it, you can't shift, you'll try to talk yourself down and try to work something through in your mind, but you still can't shift. And that's why that is, because they're so dense. So we are to be really cautious when we are out in the world, of judging one little thing and then using our words in such a way that add to the density, because we have one person who cuts us off and flips us off or whatever, or you see one grouchy faced person and you sum up the whole world by that one little thing you saw. So it's really important that we stop doing this, and that we remember that there are so many good things going on in this world. We're just not seeing them. They're just not hitting the media, the mainstream media. You know, we're not seeing that, so we're forgetting that. But if you could just like even imagine right now, because it's the truth, you know, everywhere good things are happening. Everywhere people are doing good things. Everywhere people are coming together in ceremony and coming back together, you know, to just like support each other. And like, you know, because that's one thing too, is when you are it, you can shift everything around you. That's another reason why, you know, during ascension, which we're in this huge ascension, like a universal collective ascension right now, That's why so many people will fall away from your life. It's like if something isn't really matching you, it doesn't fit, it doesn't feel good, whether it's a job, a person, a place, a home. If it doesn't match you, it won't feel good anymore. It won't feel good, and then it just creates friction until you can separate. So, kind of honor that, but also understand on the flip side that it's really important that you honor that, and that you don't try to cave to make somebody else happy, or cave to not make a stink, or cave because you think it's the right thing to do, and instead honor that you're changing, that you're evolving, that you're growing closer to your truth. But on the flip side of that, understand that when you do come together with people who are all open to that, and open to growing, and opening to remembering who they are, and to really being these powerful forces that we're meant to be on this earth, then by one person being that, all the people kind of come in line, kind of like with the birds when they're flying, and how they just follow suit and take on the next row, and take on the next row, and take on the next row. So when you do connect into that space that is one of honoring who you are, and being true to who you are, and it's like once you do that, everything else in your life will just start to collect into the correct layers, like with the birds. So just knowing that you might have to step out of an uncomfortable thing that's not working, but it's the only thing you can really do, and you'll be surprised at how quickly everything will come together, especially now with how the energies are now. So that was kind of the reading with that, us really being conscious of those things that we're saying that are adding to the brick walls, keeping us separate from everybody, and keeping us from not tuning in and connecting to all our brothers and sisters out there who are on this same journey of awakening to who we really are. And just celebrating that, and it's so magical. It's such an amazing thing. But so I wanted to just share those stories to help you see how the first one, like I woke my dad from the coma, everything happened exactly how it needed to happen to bring me there, to send me that information. The second time this has ever happened in my life was with this message of letting you guys know that there's so much good going on out there, and it's what we have to completely and utterly focus on now. And not like pulling away our total energy to things that aren't going good in the world, but there's always going to be that, or I shouldn't say it like that, for now, because we are in a system that is falling apart. When a system falls apart, this is what it looks like. This is exactly what it should look like. To fall apart, it has to completely all fall apart, all be exposed. But it has to be exposed in order to be rectified, and so much has been so wrong in this land of more patriarchy. And as we shift into the matriarch, that's why I think it's really interesting that I just lost my two matriarch people, my stepmom 2 months ago, and now my mama kitty. So it's kind of weird. That's where I'm so stunned. But anyway, so with this solar eclipse, it is so awesome. But I did want to say too, one of the things that I got from getting that message, I did get a big hit on that. We may still be coming to more devastation of the collapse of the system very soon. And I'm wondering if that's why that message was sent to us, that there may be more physical, visual effects of the fall happening around us in more of an escalated fashion. And that's why it's so important that we do just remember to see the good, and remember to see the love, and remember to just know that we're safe in all of this, but we're safe if we follow our truth. We're safe if we listen to our body with all of our decisions. That's something too, like something's being much more rewired with our intuitive system. like in the thing I wrote about the solar eclipse, was that the solar flares are really picking up and really picking up and really accelerating, and they're pounding us. But to remember, it's energy. And I wrote a whole list of symptoms on the article to kind of help you understand when they're happening, which it's pretty often now. But what they're doing is they're activating us. And what I'm seeing from this recent hugest batch going on is that what is being turned on in us is our intuitive system, so that even more so we're getting the sick tummy when something doesn't feel right, or we're feeling that kind of hesitation, not really knowing what it means when something doesn't feel right. And we really have to listen more closely to those and honor those, because eventually that will be the thing that drives our life. It's going to be like, hold on, let me see how I feel about that. You know, or if somebody shares their opinion on something, hold on, let me see how I feel about that. You know, and it's funny, I had this conversation with a friend last night, and so much that she says to me, I will have so much hesitation, or I'll be like, oh, I don't know, no, I don't want to do that, no. And she like accused me a while back of being so close-minded, and it was funny because like last night, that's what I was telling her. She came to me with this thing, and I was like, oh my God, that's so awesome, that is incredible, my God. And I was like, do you see though how like so often I'm really closed to things you tell me, but this one right here that you're telling me now, I'm like, yes, oh my gosh, that's amazing. You know, I was so behind it, but all the things that I'm thinking now that she told me before never did come to pass. They weren't really the right things. But this new thing that she presented to me, I was like, yeah, and I could so feel my body being so yes about it, when a lot of the other things where I was like, I mean, yeah, do it if you think you should. Maybe it'll work out. But it's still inside my body was like, no, that's not a good thing. So we're all just going to be, you know, getting more in tune with this and getting more in tune with our body signals telling us, you know, even this, it's so fascinating too, because the night before Mama disappeared, because where I live, you know, it's like between two canyon walls, so I believe an owl got her. Like my intuitive thing was it was an owl. But anyway, the night before, I had gotten this psychic hit of death, and that I was going to lose a cat. And my one boy cat, Coon Boy, was outside at that time, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it must be, oh my God, I'm going to lose Coon Boy. Oh my God, I've only had him for a year and a half. Oh my gosh, I was so upset. Oh my gosh, he's not coming home. He's gone. Oh my gosh. And it just floored me. And then he ended up coming home a couple hours later, and then it was the next day that I lost Mama. And I had also made an agreement with her, though, because my last ones that died, I did everything to keep them alive, and it was torture on both of us to do the subcutaneous fluids. And oh, hi, you've been scaring me all the time. Moon Bear suddenly like scares me every time she comes in the room. It's kind of funny. But so yeah, so hi, lovey. So we're going to be noticing those, and really, you know, pay attention to them. Pay attention to what comes to you. It might be like a week away. It might be something that's a little delayed, but we're so in tune right now, you know, and it's really just all really trying to show us how we can always trust our body. How, you know, we've looked back and, you know, we'll always say that I knew I shouldn't have jumped into that thing. I did not feel good about it, and I only jumped into it to make you happy. You know, so lots of those things are going to start coming, just so that we can be fully armed with whatever our body tells us, and to not give it a second's thought, and to not waver on it, because we can be guided into every correct situation in our life if we just honor that. You know, you might be just having these feelings. It can be seriously like friends that you've had forever and you never thought you would lose, and you may even be feeling like you're on the same vibration, but something, you're just feeling like these things from them. You're just like, gosh, I don't really, what's going on there? And, you know, anything like that, it's more important that you just step back and step away from it. Because if you're feeling something, it's almost guaranteed that you're correct. And especially if your belly just goes, I don't understand this. What am I feeling? What's going on there? What's wrong with her? You know, it's like, just step back. Because I think, too, we will be more aligned with our soul groups. And there's soul groups out there. You know, there's particular people that you really are wired to connect with, and that coming together with them changes like the tapestry of your entire soul group. So it's really powerful like that. And I think I'll even tell you now about, because with ceremony, and I'm sorry, this is just going to be a rambling one. I guess I kind of always do that, but I do feel so incredibly detached, and my head is really swollen, and it's kind of effort to make anything come out right now. But I am, you know, I've told you about, oh, and I don't know if I've said this yet, but it's, my private space is not called Our Embrace anymore, because there was some negative charge energies around the name and the person who gave me the name. And so that's not the name anymore. So it's really hard for me to switch gears. But I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. But the new one, it's called the Love Collective. So it's Aquarius Nation, the Love Collective. And then the Love Collective is TLC. So how cool is that? But anyway, when I first started it, I had been in works with a really dear friend of mine named Tara, who was going to do shamanic journeying for us. And she kept feeling this no in her. There was something that needed to be tweaked. It wasn't exactly right. She can't do this, da da da. And so we finally kind of dialogued through it. And what it was I was asking her to record a session, and then I would play it for everybody. And that's where the integrity of her couldn't do it, because she needs to feel everyone's energies, and you know, and that's how she can like share more information at the end about what she's kind of feeling us going through. And so that wasn't a facet of what was going to be happening. So now we're going to, and she also was uncomfortable with being on camera, which I was like, I told her, I was like, yeah, but I'm not even like taking that seriously, because I was the same way. I did not. I wanted to be a background person, and now I'm putting myself out there, and it's kind of fun. So I was like, I'm not even taking you seriously with that one, because that's what I said too, and look at me now. So anyway, next, and but so we're still going to honor that, and we're going to do it as a live conference call instead, for the time being. So it's going to be a little show with me and her, and you know, I'll start it with some astrology and whatever. We have the stories, and you know, and then we'll go into a couple journeys, and then one will be too about giving back. We will be using our minds to send some healing to places. So it's going to be, you know, kind of powerful like that. And we're going to have them every new moon and full moon, I believe, is what the schedule is going to be. They're going to start on this next full moon. Coming, I think we were going to do it on the 16th, so I think 2 weeks from today, maybe. And that night, so I'm so excited to finally be doing those. It's going to be so great, because she's so special too. She's so, you'll feel her integrity, you know. She's got a lot of it, and I really respect this woman, and I've really wanted to work as a group with her too, because we just feel like we have so many funny things happen, and like, or just when we talk, we're always like, this should be recorded, you know, we should be sharing this conversation right now, because it's always going to really deep places, but there's still a really nice balance in how we work together. So those are going to be starting. I'm really excited. We're also going to be with those. We're going to be doing, you know, because if you've been following me, I'm really big on giving back, and I'm going to be starting donating 20% of all the profits from my business. And what we're going to do though is, with each thing that you would purchase, it's going to go towards a specific thing. And I think we're actually going to have, definitely with the journeys right now, they're going to be going to, we found out about these kids in Tibet, and how they can stay in this orphanage until they reach this certain land or a certain time, in their life. 7, was it? 9, was it? I can't remember what the age was, but they stay in this orphanage. But then if they have not been sponsored, which sponsorship is $250 a year to take care of these kids, if they have not been sponsored, then they go to the rice fields to spend their entire life. And you're either sponsored and money comes in to take care of you, or you reach this certain age and you have to go into the rice fields. So we're going to start these new journey ones, donating to them. And then you'll be able to see how much we donate, and so it's going to be a lot of fun. So every item I'm working on right now is going to shift over to, you're going to see where that's 20% is going. So it's going to be really cool like that. I'm really excited. But anyway, maybe I should talk a little bit more about the energies. Okay, so November, we have lots of shifts in planets too right now. So November 6th, Jupiter's going retrograde. It's at 20 degrees Cancer, and it will go back into direct motion on March 5th, right before my birthday. How exciting, at 10 degrees Cancer. And right now it's trining my sun, so that's exciting. November 10th, we have Mercury going direct, and then November 13th, we have Neptune going direct. So the reason this chart, I was so excited for this new moon, like months back when I looked at it and was like, oh my gosh. But this is where, you know, I told you like several videos before about how our past is becoming like the sandcastle, and it will only be held up if we still choose to reinforce all the pain we've seen, to reinforce all the limitation, to reinforce all the things that we then carry as burdens walking into our futures. And there was a shift that happened around August 25th where that just shifted, and our futures are the thing now that is very solid and anchored, and our past is the sandcastle, where before it was reversed. It was our futures was the sandcastle. We had to affirm and affirm and affirm through affirmations and dreams, and our past was just this thing we couldn't get rid of. It stayed in our system. But now we are officially at the slate is wiped clean point. You know, we've been building up, building up, building up. So really know that it's wise and okay to let go of all that stuff that you feel is holding you back or keeping you from living your dreams now. It's really important that you just you should have been going through a cycle of really seeing a lot of it, really seeing a lot of things that are falling away, which I think it's so fascinating that the Day of the Dead season, which is like a 4-day thing, is it just ended last night, and then we instantly move into the solar eclipse. So we just left a place of really kind of thinking about our ancestors and thinking about those that have left us, and which I think that's so cool. My mama kitty was smart. I think it's really cool that she left. I instantly got to put the altar up for her, and my altar was huge this year. My gosh, can't believe how many people have died. But so it's really fascinating, that we just had this big release, and now it's like, what do you want? What do you want to have happen? What are you dreaming of? What do you really want? Like, what do you really want? What would you really want if you could imagine there's nothing holding you back except for your mental state and thinking that you need to suffer and thinking that it has to be this way? But besides that, there's nothing, holding you back. And like the energies, the energies in this astrology of our life right now is so profound and so amazing. But it's really about, the biggest point of everything is with that Neptune, and even when it goes direct, it's going to be trining Mercury, with Mercury right there next to the North Node. But everything is really about your dreams right now. And a big thing that's happening for people too is that if they really are clearing stuff out and letting things go and letting it fall away, there's a new landscape that's like opening to people. There's this new creativity that is so abundant and amazing, and most likely the things that will be coming to you relate to things you've already thought of before. It can be something you already were like in the creation with before. And it's suddenly, it can be something where you just didn't know how you could work this thing, how you wanted to move forward with this project or whatever, and all of a sudden it's just gonna like come to you. It can be an inspiration from an outside source, but whatever, everything's matching up with us now. It's matching up. It's like, it's something like we're able to fully be these magnetic forces too, because of all this stuff from our past that we've let go of, because of all this murky pain, density, lies, all these things that are keeping us from really knowing who we are, and letting all that go just like takes off these screens we've had around our bodies or something like this like we've been in these cases, and now it's like open, and it's like magnetizing everything so quickly that it'll really like kind of blow you away. And also, the more you can be around people who are also have their shields opened, it's just this empowering force. And you know, someone had made a note of that on my Facebook page, but right after Mama was gone, the next morning, I went out. I had to go get something from a friend, and on the way there, I ended up being right at the same point of this person who had just gotten hit by a car, and their body, and this was like where people are going 50, and his body was convulsing and he was thrashing, and I was right there for that, and I instantly started hyperventilating, and like I couldn't even breathe. I was like bawling. I remember seeing my dog like looking at me like, what happened, what's going on? But it's so like I manifested that because I already had that devastation, loss, my cat, death, you know. And then like, I mean, I'd never seen anybody hit by a car before, ever. You know, my dad was, which then that all came back. You know, that's why I say I'm in this full circle, like, oh my gosh, and reliving all these things and thinking about these things. So, but it's really right now too, we're separating our past from our futures. So it makes sense that we're very much in a lot of things from our past, in a lot of limitations, in a lot of memories, in a lot of, you know, piecework, you know, trying to figure out where this came from too. It's this depth, it's these layers, it's going down beneath all these things, and oh my gosh, that's why that's happening, that's why I manifested this, and da da da. And so it makes sense that I would magnetize that scene in my mind. But still, it was like, I was like, it completely defunked me. It completely like, it's kind of like I haven't even completely come back yet. That's why I'm a little like mute. I'm stunned, I guess. I'm still just in a stunned state. But so yeah, so this one is just, you know, and really with this, it's like you're going to start seeing breadcrumbs, and you probably already have. It might even feel like you had seen these breadcrumbs a year ago, and now you hadn't seen where the next one was for a while, and now it's all of a sudden like they're coming again, and you're like, and I mean miracles of the highest caliber. Like, expect the biggest things that you can even fathom, you know, and that's what you can have right now. I mean, it's anything, because we have these shields that are gone, you know, and what you're thinking and what you're dreaming, it can all magnetize so quickly, and it's a very creative energy. It's very creative, and it's also very compassionate, you know, in this kind of heart opening, caring for people, seeing things in a new way. Seeing people who are struggling in a new way, feeling more compassion for that they're really just choosing to hold on to their, you know, things from the past, but that they can change on a dime. We can all change on a dime. And, you know, that was something too. I wrote a lot in the horoscopes on Aquarius Nation, which maybe you all should just check there more often, because I didn't know how to get the message to you that I had the written ones up, but they've been up for a week. But that money, there's really something big with us transforming our feelings of money, and it's a really big factor here, where, you know, basically, if you still have feelings of scarcity and that there's not enough, then you are going to hold very steady with monetary being the thing that equals value to you. So you will be very much about, I have to charge this amount to be valued for the amazing work I'm putting through. And there's just something that needs to be tweaked with that, and something that needs to be shifted out of that mentality, because honestly, that mentality is scarcity. Because if you believe that there is enough and that there is abundance and you will be provided for, then you're not so much holding steady about making a lot of money as your kind of first priority, you know. That's just a really big shift that's going to be, especially once January comes, it's going to be locked in. And this is something you can change on a dime with. But even like how I said, I'm shifting all my stuff to part of it's donation based, and everyone will be able to see where it's going. And that's going to be really exciting. But just doing things like that, just really shifting your main drive as, I want to do this because I want to help people, or I want to do this because this helps people live their purpose in life, you know, or whatever. You know, so really just aligning with a service to others, and realizing too that we're all just like tools in a way, and we're bringing through this information, or we're bringing through these creations, and it's all a part of not being us, you know. It's all, or I mean, it's all a part of source, and it's all, I mean, everything we're doing that is creative, artistic, metaphysical, psychic, everything is in co-creation with source, right? So we have to go back and remember that, and remember that we're really just tools doing a service. And if we can do that, we forget so much about the money facet, and then that takes us out of scarcity mode. Because if we're concentrating on the money facet, we're in scarcity. It's just how it goes. And that's what we're trying to move out of, is as long as I'm aligned with my truth, and as long as I'm doing something that I really love and that really feels valuable to me, then I know the money will support me. I mean, that's kind of how I shifted my business, was I moved into that. Like, I've had zero scarcity since I just shifted into this, like, I'm just going to do what I love and trust that there's a reason for it, and focus on the joy I get from helping people, you know. And like, that's like that's so much joy to me. It's beyond, that's where, yeah, I'm like, it's the greatest thing ever. So if you can just align to that, the money will then continue to come. The support will always be coming. It will always be manifesting, magnetizing to you, because you're not in the scarcity. But if you are still in the scarcity, you're going to be like very set on things money related, and very like, I need this much, I need money for you, I need to make money for this, I need to make money. We just need to shift out of that, you know, because imagine if there really is a world really soon where we don't have money, you know. Imagine that really could be our reality in months. I mean, who knows when the shift of that can happen, but we're trying to move to that, you know. So this is a big one, and it's huge in everybody, because money is the root of all evil, is kind of what we believe, is what we know the truth to be. There's a lot of control and manipulation around money, and I do understand the merit of money as an energetic exchange, but I think it needs to be viewed in a different way, in like tokens, you know, in donations, in sliding scales, because the thought of leaving some people out when this is a spiritual agenda here, is something that feels very wrong, and is nothing I could connect with now in my life with what I know. And more people are going to be like me eventually, where we're just like, you know, that doesn't feel good. Like, I don't feel good, you know, because that's the thing too, is what you create, what you sell, what you want to market of what you're here to do. If you are still just looking at it as like, I need to make money from this, I need to I need to, you know, if you're looking at the money factor as too high up on the list, other people will feel that. And by honoring their bodies, they're going to be like, something just, I don't know, I know everyone's jumping on that, but I don't think I want to. You know, something in me is saying no. So it's going to be a whole new feely kind of world out there, you know, where we really are so connected to who we are that we trust everything our body tells us. I mean, I was warned about my kitty dying. Can't believe it. And yeah. So magical times, though, my gosh. I think I have gotten most of the messages out for this energetic time. 4444 was what it was right when I looked up. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'll just stop there. And I don't think I have anything more, but yeah, do go read that, because there's really, I wrote some really exciting things for everybody's sign individually, and it will also really kind of describe the several next months of your life and what you're going to be focusing on and what these new things are going to be coming into your life. And it's going to feel like a totally brand new world. It's going to feel like, I mean, there's really room for some massive improvements, but I do still have that really strong feeling like we're coming to a really big storm point too with what's going on out in the world, and I feel like that's why that message came through me to share. I mean, on one point it's like, yeah, it's reminding us about this really powerful thing, but I just feel like it's also saying, hey, you know, the shit may really, really be about to hit the fan with a lot of people who are not choosing to let go of their past and not choosing to evolve and to connect and to not choosing to remember who they really are. And when that happens, because of this magnetized thing going on, it could look really ugly and really scary and really nasty. And that's why we just have to be really really protective of our words that we use in these times coming up now in the next several months. Really just like not buying into anything in such a way that it has us defining this world as a messed up place or anything bad, or that people are never going to wake up. Just making any kind of really broad statement like that is not good for the work that we're trying to do right now, which is, you know, bringing in this connection to ourself, because that's when you think about it, when you're in that fear, when you're looking at it, seeing all these things, and when you're judging everything as bad, you're outside of your solid collected point of knowing who you are. And if that's not solid, it can be wavering. And it was funny too, because I found this article, I just remembered, I should like, I don't know where it's at right now, I wrote it like in 2004 or 5 or something like that, but it was called Are You a Leaf or Are You a Tree? And I went through this whole poem, and it was about, you know, like a tree is solid no matter what is happening, but a leaf, you know, it might say something or da da da, but then the wind comes through and it's all shaken and not solid. And I don't, it was in a poem, so I can't really recite it now. I can't remember what I wrote, but I thought that this is kind of a thing right now, because when you're true to yourself, you are that tree. And the people who aren't really true to themselves or aren't really connected to who they really are, they're more like a leaf out in this world. There's also going to be another distance healing call tonight, actually, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. And you can find that information on Facebook. You know, maybe I'll put something down below to let you know, to join in on that, because that can help, you know, clear out a lot of this stuff right now, and really clear out a lot of this past stuff that may still be lingering. But honestly, it's ready to go. You know, it's really like it's time to say goodbye to a lot of that stuff and just move bravely forward into your future. And you have every reason to be really excited and stoked for what you're going to start seeing and what's going to happen in your life if you can follow this, you know, soul-connected, led life decisions, because it's very much your body speaking to you for everything that you're going to be doing. But there's amazing potential for some really beautiful things to just knock your socks off and be like, oh my gosh, I've been dreaming that for 15 years. Oh my gosh. You know, and to be like, I always knew I wanted da 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 da. I wanted to buy this land. I wanted this to happen. I wanted that to happen. I wanted this to happen. And like, it's happening now. So be very stoked for that. And yeah. So, okay, I think I will stop there. And I'm glad I finally got this done. And I was going to have it a week ago. But you know how that goes. Alright, so you have a beautiful new moon, and hopefully I'll see you on the call tonight. And I really, really, really look forward to seeing you on the shamanic journeying calls. So we'll have people from all over the world, and it's going to be done by Tara. And wait till you get to meet this girl. She's so much integrity. You know, even like, you know, I was talking about having like a really small token donation, you know, like $2 or $4, you know, and then like donating a big chunk of it. And she's like, I just knew that she was the one I wanted to do with it. She's like, oh, whatever, you know, and that's how I am too. I'm always like, oh, whatever. Like, how much do you want to be paid? Whatever. I don't know, whatever, you know. It's not important, you know. I just love doing this, you know. So it was kind of cool getting that from her because she's full of a lot of integrity, and I'm really excited to bring her to you for us to do these together. And it'll be like our own little show. It'll be fun. So, okay, I'm going to leave it with that. You have a beautiful new moon, and I will see you in, I'll see you in 2 weeks.